Are you thinking of moving to Issaquah, Washington, but you don't know enough about it? Well, this video, I'm going to give you the pros and cons of Issaquah, Washington. Hey everybody, my name is Tova Williamson. I'm a local real estate agent here in the Seattle metro area. And on this channel, I shoot tons of videos of what it's like to live in the Seattle metro area. So if those are videos you want more of, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, click the bell so you'll be notified every time a new video comes on. So we get reach outs all the time from people moving from the area. We absolutely love hearing from you, but we can't help unless you reach out. So give us a call, email, text. We've got your back when you're moving to Seattle. So today I am going to talk about the pros and cons of living in Issaquah, Washington. So Issaquah is a suburb that is just east of Seattle on I-90. So for those of you who don't know, Issaquah is right around here. We've got Seattle over here to the west, and then Bellevue also, which is to the west, just not quite as far. If you zoom out, you can see Issaquah is really close to Snoqualmie Mountain. So that's kind of a pro of the area where it's located. It's really close for outdoor enthusiasts. But we will dive right on in to some of the pros. So number one pro is the schools. The schools in Issaquah, the Issaquah School District is a very highly rated school district. Super popular, super desirable to be in. According to niche.com, they get an A+ in schools. So it's just that brings a ton of people to the area. The schools are just super, super top tier and everybody wants to be in them. So that is one of the big pros, is the school system here. Number two pro is it's close to nature and outdoor activities. Like I showed you on the map where it's located, there's so many things close by. Like this background is like Old Town Issaquah. You can't really tell from this picture, but when you're like in Old Town Issaquah, you're downtown, you're kind of more down in the valley, and there's just like mountains all around you to look at. There's different neighborhoods within Issaquah that are higher up on some of those hills and mountains, so you can see down and get great views of Lake Sammamish. So it's just a really great place, like geographically, for those nature outdoor activities. You can see you've got Lake Sammamish here. So Issaquah kind of encompasses like a little bit up here. It goes south. Old Town is down here south of I-90, and then you've got the Highlands and a couple of other neighborhoods around here. So you're close to Lake Sammamish, where you can have outdoor like lake activities, boating, kayaking, paddleboarding, things like that. You're super close to these different mountains. You've got Cougar Mountain and Tiger Mountain Forest. There's tons of hiking trails all around, and then you're just like a hop, skip, and a jump to just be like deep in the mountains too. It's so close. You can just hop on I-90 and you're there. So that's something that really brings people to the area, is just like the close proximity to all of these outdoor recreation activities. Number three pro is the safety. So Issaquah, it's a smaller town generally. It's definitely more of a suburb. It has everything that you need in it, but not a ton of like other things going on. So it's just a really small kind of community that's really safe. On niche.com, they get a B- for safety. So it's a relatively safe place. Property crime is probably like the most crime, violent crime, not a huge factor in Issaquah. So it's just generally a safe place to live. And so that's what draws a lot of people to the area. And then the final and fourth pro that I'm going to talk about is the scenery. I mean, I kind of talked about it a little bit ago with the nature and the outdoors and the proximity, but the scenery around is just absolutely beautiful. It's just lush and green all over. You have mountains. There's certain areas in Issaquah that you can find homes that are up on the hilltops or mountaintops, and you just have like amazing views of Lake Sammamish down below and the different mountains. So it's just really beautiful scenery. You don't even have to really drive that far to get to the scenery. It's all just really close to your front door. So it's something that's really draws people to the area and that's really popular in the area. It's just the beautiful scenery. So now we're going to talk about some of the cons. Issaquah generally is a really great place, but it does have some cons too. So number one con is the cost of living and the cost of housing. So with it being such a popular place for schools and for safety, it just brings a lot of people to the area that want to live there. And then when there's more people and not enough housing, the prices go up. So median sales price for Issaquah for a single family, you're looking at about 1.3, 1.4 for a single family home. Condos, you're going to be in like the 500, 550 range for median price. So definitely not a cheap place to live and to move. You can, again, if you find some condos, it's a little bit less expensive, but definitely not a cheap place to move or find a starter home, it's definitely higher price. Issaquah, you do get a pretty decent mix of condos, townhouses, and single family homes, just the way that it's mapped out. The old town Issaquah has some of those older like 70s, 80s homes, some that have been fixed up, have a lot bigger lots, a lot of trees. If you go up to Issaquah Highlands, it's more of a pre-planned community. So there you're gonna find a lot more condos, a lot more townhouses. There are single family homes in the Issaquah Highlands, but they are very small and narrow, like on small lots. So you don't have a huge yard in those areas. So it's a really good mix of type of homes, but it's just expensive because it's such a desirable place to live. So that's I think number one con is cost of living. Number two con is traffic. So as with anywhere in our area, traffic is just not fun. I will say Issaquah, like if you're commuting into Seattle to work, like downtown Seattle, I would say Issaquah is probably one of the better cities on the east side just because it's like a straight shot on I-90. It's not like some of the other cities where you're having to drive down to the freeway. Let me pull up this map one more time. But it is, I mean, it's just kind of rough traffic once you're getting off. There's only a couple freeway exits on I-90 to Issaquah. So even if traffic might not be too bad on I-90 that particular day, usually when you're exiting on these exits, it will get pretty bogged down and backed up. So that's just something to consider. There are some public transportation, not great, but there are some park and ride locations where you can park and then hop on a bus and take you into Seattle if you are commuting to Seattle. So that can be an option, but it's still just not super ideal for traffic. You're going to deal with some traffic no matter what. That's just kind of the price of living in this area, is just the traffic. But like I said, it is a con, but I think of the east side cities, the traffic to Seattle is slightly less bad from Issaquah just because I-90 is like a bigger freeway, wider lanes, more lanes versus like 405 or some of the other smaller roads. So still traffic's not ideal. So that's number two. Number three we're going to talk about is weather. Just like I talk about every single neighborhood or area in this in the Seattle metro area, the weather can be pretty rough sometimes, especially in the winter. We get a lot of rain. I mean, I'd say anywhere from, it really depends, but anywhere from November to May, sometimes March, April, May, June even, it just depends. We get a lot of rain and gray days. Even this picture behind me, you can see some gray days. So it is definitely a gray area. So if you're prone to kind of like that seasonal affective disorder or needing sunshine, it might not be the place for you. The Pacific Northwest in general might not be the place for you just because we do get a lot of gray days, but we get so much beautiful greenery because of those gray days. And then when it is nice here, I mean, it's just like beautiful. It's always the joke to like not tell people that it's actually nice here in the summer, because when it is nice, it's just beautiful and everybody's out doing stuff. So it kind of makes it worth it. All the gray days make the sun shine just so much better and everybody's in a really good mood. But weather is, you know, kind of a con in the area. And the fourth and final con that I'm going to talk about is Issaquah, and it might not be a con too, depending on your lifestyle, but Issaquah is more of a small town, kind of a sleepy town. Not a lot. I mean, there's everything that you would need, all of the main big box stores as far as shopping and grocery shopping. There's movie theater, there's restaurants, there's plenty to do, but there's not as many local employers in Issaquah like there are in some of the other east side cities. Like Redmond has Microsoft, SpaceX, Bellevue has a ton of tech companies, even Kirkland. Issaquah doesn't quite have as many big companies for employers. So if you're living in Issaquah, you're more than likely going to be commuting somewhere out to work, whether it's in Seattle or somewhere else on the east side. So that's just something to keep in mind. But I think for some people, a lot of times that lifestyle, that more kind of quiet, mellow, small town vibe is what they want. And so that's why they choose to live out there and deal with the commute. So those are some of the pros and cons of Issaquah. I think generally it's a really great place to call home and a really great place to live. People love the area. So if you're thinking of moving to Issaquah or anywhere else in the Seattle metro area, give us a call, email, text. We got your back when you're moving to Seattle.